In this video, we're diving into Maldito ChatGPT by Camilo, where we'll break down the lyrics to help you understand the Spanish language and its nuances. Let's jump in. The song opens with es raro, which means it's weird. Raro is related to the English word rare and means strange or odd. This simple phrase sets up the entire song. The singer is about to explore something that feels strange or unexpected about love. Next, we have Hago una lista de lo que yo siempre he soña'o, which means I make a list of what I've always dreamed of. Notice soña'o. This is a colloquial contraction of soñado, meaning dreamed. Lo que means what or that which. It's how we introduce what the list contains. So the singer is making a list of his ideal partner qualities, setting up the contrast we'll see in the next line. The next line is, y no se parece a la persona que tengo a mi lado, which means, and it's nothing like the person who's by my side. Se parece means resembles or is like. With no in front, it becomes doesn't resemble. A mi lado literally means at my side, but translates more naturally as by my side, referring to his current partner. This line creates the central tension of the song. His dream list doesn't match the person he's actually with, setting up the conflict between idealized love and real love. Next we have pero el amor no es un casting, which means but love is not a casting. Notice how Spanish borrows the English word casting, the audition process for selecting actors. This line is the singer's realization. He's been treating love like a casting call, checking people against his ideal list, but real love doesn't work that way. The next line is, y por poquito yo casi la cago pensando que sí, which means, and I came so close to screwing it up, thinking that it was. Por poquito means by a little or almost. He nearly made a big mistake. La cago is colloquial for I screw it up, literally I shit it, but meaning to mess something up badly. Pensando que sí means thinking that yes. He almost ruined his relationship by thinking love really was like a casting call, where his partner had to match his list. This line shows his moment of self-awareness. He realizes he nearly lost someone real by chasing an impossible ideal. Next we have hago una lista de todo lo que me asusta, which means I make a list of everything that scares me. Again we see lo que, that which or what, introducing the content of this second list. Asusta comes from asustar, meaning to scare. Notice how the singer is now making a different kind of list, not his dreams, but his fears. This shift from dreams to fears shows he's being more honest with himself about what love really involves. The next line is, y escribo tu nombre 1000 veces y creo que me gusta, which means, and I write your name 1,000 times and I think I like it. 1000 veces means 1,000 times. This is hyperbole showing obsessive repetition, like when you can't stop thinking about someone. Creo que me gusta literally means, I think that it pleases me, but translates as, I think I like it. Notice the uncertainty. Creo shows he's not sure about his own feelings. This line captures that moment when you realize you might actually enjoy being scared or obsessed. He's writing her name compulsively and discovering he likes this feeling of fear mixed with attraction. Next we have el amor no es ciego, pero se hace el ciego por ti, which means love isn't blind, but it turns a blind eye for you. The key phrase here is se hace el ciego, which literally means it makes itself the blind one. But this is an idiom meaning to turn a blind eye or to pretend not to see. This line plays with the famous saying that love is blind. The singer corrects this. Love isn't naturally blind, but it chooses to ignore problems for the person you care about. Por ti means for you. Love makes this choice specifically because of you, showing how we willingly overlook flaws when we're in love. Now we reach the chorus. Tú no eres pa mí, which means you're not the one for me. Notice, pa, this is a casual contraction of para, meaning for. This line is the harsh conclusion the singer has reached. Despite all his feelings, logic tells him this person isn't right for him. It sets up the conflict between what his heart wants and what his mind says. The next line is me lo dijo ChatGPT, which means ChatGPT told me so. Notice lo here. It refers back to the previous statement. So ChatGPT told him that she's not the one for him. This line introduces the song's modern twist. Instead of asking friends or family for relationship advice, he's consulting an AI. The next line is que me conoce más que yo mismo a mí, which means who knows me better than I know myself. Que means who instead of that, because it's talking about ChatGPT like it's a person. Just like we say, my friend who knows me, instead of my friend that knows me. Notice the phrase yo mismo a mí. This is emphatic redundancy. Yo mismo means I myself, and a mí means to me. Together they create strong emphasis on the speaker's own self-knowledge. This line reveals the absurdity of the situation. He's claiming that an AI algorithm understands him better than he understands himself, which shows how much he's doubting his own judgment about love. The next line is y le volví a preguntar, pero me dijo que no, which means, and I asked it again, but it told me no. Let's look at le volví a preguntar. Volver a plus infinitive means to do something again. In this case, to ask, or preguntar ChatGPT again. The le refers to ChatGPT, so he went back and asked ChatGPT the same question, hoping for a different answer. This line shows his desperation. He's not satisfied with the AI's advice, so he keeps asking the same question, hoping it will eventually tell him what he wants to hear. It's a very human response to unwanted advice. The next line is, y yo quería que me dijera que sí, which means, and I wanted it to tell me yes. Quería is the imperfect tense of querer, meaning I wanted. This tense shows it was an ongoing desire in the past. The phrase, que me dijera que sí, uses the imperfect subjunctive, dijera, to express his wish. He wanted ChatGPT to tell him yes, that this person was right for him. This line reveals his desperation. He's not seeking honest advice, but validation for what he already wants to believe. He's hoping the AI will eventually give him the answer his heart wants to hear. Next we have Maldito ChatGPT, which means damn ChatGPT. Maldito means damn or cursed. It's a strong expression of frustration. This outburst shows his anger at the AI for not giving him the answer he wanted. He's blaming ChatGPT for telling him the truth he doesn't want to hear. The next line is que te conoce más que yo mismo a ti, which means who knows you better than I know you myself. Notice the emphatic structure yo mismo a ti. This mirrors the previous lines yo mismo a mí, but now he's talking about knowing you instead of knowing himself. This line continues the absurd idea that ChatGPT somehow knows his partner better than he does, showing how he's outsourcing not just self-knowledge, but knowledge of the person he loves to an AI algorithm. The next line is yo igual te elegí a ti, yo igual te elegí a ti, which means I still chose you, I still chose you. The key word here is igual. It means still or anyway, showing that despite what ChatGPT says, his choice remains the same. Notice a ti. This adds emphasis to you. He could have just said te elegí, but a ti makes it more emphatic and personal. The repetition of the entire line shows his determination. He's declaring his choice twice to reinforce his decision against the AI's advice. This is the emotional climax where his heart overrules logic. The next line is y te vuelvo a elegir a ti, which means and I choose you again. We again see volver a plus an infinitive, which means to do something again. Elegir means to choose, so he's choosing you or te again, reaffirming his decision. Notice a ti at the end. This adds emphasis to you, making his choice more personal and emphatic than just saying te vuelvo a elegir. This line shows his determination, despite ChatGPT's repeated advice against it. He keeps making the same choice. It's his heart overruling logic once again. The next line is a mí me gustas tú, solamente tú, which means it's you I like, only you. Notice a mí at the beginning. This emphasizes to me or for me, making the statement more personal and emphatic than just saying me gustas. Remember that gustar works backwards from English. Literally, this says you are pleasing to me, but we translate it as I like you. Solamente tú means only you. The repetition of tú at the end adds extra emphasis to his exclusive choice. This line is his final declaration. Despite all the doubt and AI advice, he's making his feelings crystal clear with this emphatic structure. The next line is y es que es ambiguo lo que siento, which means it's just that what I feel is ambiguous. The phrase es que is a common Spanish expression meaning it's just that, or the thing is. It's used to introduce an explanation or justification. Lo que means what or that which. We've seen this construction before in the song when he talks about making lists. This line shows the singer acknowledging the complexity of his emotions. After all the back and forth with ChatGPT and his declarations of choice, he admits his feelings aren't clear-cut. It's a moment of honest self-reflection about the messy reality of love. The next line is, te idealizo y me miento, sin ti me parto en fragmentos, which means I idealize you and lie to myself. Without you, I fall to pieces. Idealizo means I idealize. He's admitting he creates a perfect, unrealistic image of her in his mind. Me miento literally means I lie to myself. Notice how Spanish uses the reflexive pronoun me to show the action is directed at oneself. Me parto en fragmentos literally means I break myself into fragments, but translates more naturally as I fall to pieces. This vivid imagery shows complete emotional breakdown. This line captures the toxic cycle of idealization. He puts her on a pedestal, lies to himself about reality, and then completely falls apart when she's not there. It's a powerful description of unhealthy attachment. The next line is porque tú eres mi elemento, which means because you are my element. The key word here is elemento. While it literally means element, in this poetic context, it suggests she's like one of the fundamental elements of nature, something essential for his very existence. This line explains why he falls apart without her. She's not just someone he loves, but a basic component of who he is, like oxygen or water. The next line is y sin miedo al sufrimiento de ti siempre estoy hambriento, which means and without fear of suffering, I'm always hungry for you. Sin miedo al sufrimiento means without fear of suffering. Notice how al is the contraction of a plus el, creating to the suffering. Spanish uses the definite article el, meaning the, with abstract nouns like el sufrimiento, because it treats concepts like suffering as a single, definite idea, as if there's one universal suffering, while English usually talks about it in an indefinite, general way without the. Estoy hambriento means I am hungry, but here it's used metaphorically. He's not literally hungry, but has an insatiable craving or desire for this person. De ti explains what he's hungry for, you. In Spanish, you have hunger of something, tener hambre de algo. De introduces what the hunger is for. This line shows his complete surrender to love. He's willing to accept pain and suffering because his need for her is so intense. It's a powerful declaration that he'll take the bad with the good as long as he can have her. The next line is, tú eres esa flor que nace en las gritas del pavimento, which means you're the flower that grows through the cracks in the pavement. Notice las gritas. This means the cracks. It's a beautiful metaphor comparing his partner to a flower that somehow manages to grow in the most unlikely, harsh conditions. The verb nace comes from nacer, meaning to be born or to grow, emphasizing that she doesn't just survive difficult circumstances, but actually flourishes in them. This poetic image captures how he sees her as something beautiful and resilient that emerges from challenging situations, perhaps suggesting she brings beauty to his own difficult emotional landscape. The next line is, y si tú me hablas me confundo, pero si callas me hundo, which means, and if you talk to me, I get confused, but if you're silent, I sink. Notice confundo. This comes from confundir, meaning to confuse. But here it's reflexive. Me confundo means I get confused or I confuse myself. Callas comes from callar, meaning to be silent or to keep quiet. It's different from just not talking. It implies a deliberate choice to stay silent. Hundo comes from hundir, meaning to sink. Again, it's reflexive. Me hundo means I sink emotionally, like drowning in despair. This line perfectly captures the impossible situation he's in. Her words overwhelm him, but her silence destroys him. It shows how completely dependent he is on her, no matter what she does. And next line is, y si me ignoras, te busco, which means, and if you ignore me, I look for you. Notice ignoras. This comes from ignorar, meaning to ignore. It's stronger than just not responding. It implies deliberately avoiding someone. Busco means I look for or I search for, showing his compulsive need to pursue her even when she's clearly trying to avoid him. This line continues the pattern from the previous line. It shows another impossible situation where her rejection only makes him chase her more. It reveals the unhealthy cycle of his obsession. Next we have, y si me abrazas me asusto, which means, and if you hug me, I get scared. Asusto is reflexive. Me asusto means I get scared or I scare myself. This completes the impossible cycle. Her words confuse him, her silence destroys him. Her distance makes him chase her, and even her affection scares him. No matter what she does, he's trapped in emotional turmoil, showing how his obsession has made a healthy relationship impossible. We return to the chorus with y tú no eres pa' mí, which means, and you're not the one for me. The y at the beginning connects this back to the previous verse. After describing all his contradictory feelings and impossible emotional cycles, he returns to this harsh conclusion that logic keeps telling him. The next line is, claro Camilo, which means, of course Camilo. Claro means of course. It's ChatGPT responding with agreement. This marks a shift in the song. Now we're hearing ChatGPT's voice directly speaking to Camilo as if in a therapy session. The AI is about to give him relationship advice. The next line is, escucha. Es completamente normal que sientas atracción, which means, listen, it's completely normal for you to feel attraction. Escucha is the imperative form of escuchar. ChatGPT is commanding Camilo's attention like a therapist would. Notice sientas. This is the subjunctive form of sentir, used here because es normal que expresses a subjective judgment, which in Spanish requires the subjunctive. This line shows ChatGPT taking on a therapeutic tone, normalizing Camilo's attraction while setting up to deliver more difficult advice. The AI is being diplomatic before the harsh truth. The next line is, pero recuerda que no siempre es suficiente, which means, but remember that it is not always enough. Recuerda is again the imperative form. ChatGPT is giving Camilo a direct command to remember something important. Suficiente means enough. ChatGPT is warning that attraction alone isn't sufficient for a successful relationship. This line delivers the harsh reality check after acknowledging that his feelings are normal. The AI pivots to explain why those feelings aren't enough to make the relationship work. The next line is, las diferencias que tienes con esa persona, which means the differences you have with that person. Notice esa persona. ChatGPT is being deliberately distant and clinical, referring to Camilo's love interest as that person, rather than using her name or saying she. This line begins ChatGPT's analysis of why the relationship won't work. It's focusing on incompatibilities rather than the attraction Camilo feels. The next line is, son evidentes y a largo plazo podrían no ser beneficiosas para ti, which means they are obvious and in the long term may not be beneficial for you. The key phrase here is a largo plazo, in the long term. In Spanish, the preposition a often expresses time frames or destinations. For example, a tiempo means on time or literally at time. A largo plazo follows the same pattern, meaning in the long term. ChatGPT is making a clinical assessment about the future viability of the relationship. Notice podrían. This is the conditional form of poder, meaning could or might. The AI isn't being absolute, but suggesting probability. This line shows ChatGPT delivering its harsh verdict. The differences between Camilo and his partner are so obvious that they'll likely cause problems down the road. It's the AI's cold, logical analysis of what passion refuses to see. The next line is, te mereces una relación en la que sientas plena compatibilidad, which means you deserve a relationship in which you feel full compatibility. Notice sientas. This is the subjunctive form of sentir, used because ChatGPT is talking about a hypothetical ideal relationship, not stating it as fact. Plena compatibilidad means full compatibility. ChatGPT is setting a high standard, suggesting Camilo deserves complete harmony, not the emotional chaos he's experiencing. This line shows the AI delivering what sounds like compassionate advice, but it's actually the setup for rejecting his current relationship. By defining what he deserves, it's implying his current partner doesn't meet this standard. The next line is, y es importante que te lo recuerdes a ti mismo, which means, and it's important to remind yourself of that. Notice recuerdes. This is the subjunctive form of recordar, used because ChatGPT is expressing advice or a recommendation about what Camilo should do, rather than stating a fact. Lo refers back to the previous advice, that he deserves full compatibility. So ChatGPT is telling him to keep reminding himself of this standard. The phrase a ti mismo creates emphasis. Instead of just saying te recuerdes, adding a ti mismo makes it more emphatic, like saying remind yourself rather than just remember. This line shows ChatGPT acting like a therapist, giving Camilo homework. He needs to keep reinforcing this message to himself because his emotions keep pulling him back to someone who isn't right for him. The next line is, ¿Cómo te sientes con esto? Which means, how do you feel about this? Notice con esto, literally with this. In Spanish, we say feel with something rather than feel about something, showing how the language conceptualizes emotions differently. This is ChatGPT's final question. After delivering all its clinical advice about compatibility and what Camilo deserves, the AI asks for his emotional response, like a therapist checking in with a patient. Finally, Camilo responds with, Como el culo, marica, ¿cómo me voy a sentir? Which means, like ass, dude, how am I supposed to feel? Como el culo literally means like the ass, but it's a vulgar expression meaning like shit or terrible. It's his raw, emotional response to ChatGPT's clinical advice. Marica is Colombian slang meaning dude or man. It can be a casual way for friends to address each other, though it can be offensive in other contexts. Me voy a sentir uses the near future construction ir a plus infinitive. Literally, I'm going to feel. But here is rhetorical, meaning, how am I supposed to feel? This explosive response shows the complete breakdown of the AI therapy session. After all ChatGPT's measured, logical advice, Camilo erupts with pure human emotion, using crude language to express his frustration. It's the perfect ending that shows how artificial intelligence, no matter how sophisticated, can't truly understand the messy reality of human love. Thank you for watching our breakdown of Maldito ChatGPT by Camilo. If you enjoyed this content and want to learn more about Spanish through music, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more lessons. Don't forget to check us out online at buenospanish.com for additional resources and tips on learning Spanish.